Let's go, girls.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Feminist Cocktail Hour. I'm JC, and today we are making a traditional Sunday kind of drink. We are doing a riff on a Bloody Mary called a Bloody Olga in honor of Saint Olga of Kiev, the patron saint of widows and converts. Again, appropriate for a Sunday. For this drink, you are going to need the following ingredients. You're going to need some vodka, some beet juice, a little bit of tomato juice, and then dashes of a bunch of different things. Lemon juice, lime juice, pickle juice, Worcestershire sauce, hot sauce, and then a little sprinkle of pepper. While you wrangle all of that, I'm going to talk a little bit about Saint Olga, Bloody Olga. As you will hear in this story, both monikers are equally appropriate. So, Saint Olga was born on the border of what is now modern-day Russia and modern-day Ukraine around the year 905. Not a great deal is known about Olga's early life, except that she is probably of Varangian descent, which is to say that her ancestors were Vikings. When she was relatively young, she married King Igor I of the Kievan Rus. Now, before you can know about Olga, you have to know a little bit of Russian history. The Kievan Rus are the ancestors to modern-day Russians. They were the most dominant tribe in Russia during that time. They were neighbors with the Drevlians. The Drevlians and the Kievan Rus had a complicated relationship. They had worked together on various military campaigns, but again, we have a complicated relationship. The Kievan Rus and the Drevlians had a complicated relationship. They had worked together on some military campaigns, but because the Kievan Rus were a much more dominant tribe, they required the Drevlians to pay tribute to them. The Drevlians obviously weren't wild about this, so from time to time, the Kievan Rus kings would have to come down and give them the shakedown. Enter King Igor. King Igor comes in from Kiev and tells the Drevlians it's time to pay the piper. They can't fight him. They're a much smaller tribe. He's there with all of his men. They pay up, and he starts to head home to Kiev. Halfway back, he says to his guy, he's like, you know what? I think we can get more money from those Drevlians. I bet we can squeeze a few more rubles out of them. And you know what? We're so much stronger than them, I don't even need the whole army. I can just take this little envoy back with me. You guys go on home to Kiev. So he goes back to the Drevlians with a small group of fellow Kievan Rus, and he says, dudes, I would like some more money. And they're like, what? We just paid you. And he's like, I know, sorry, pay up. We're like, no, we're done with this shit. So they kill off his envoy, and then they take King Igor. They find two trees. They bend them down to the ground, and they tie his limbs to each of the trees, and then release them, tearing him in two. Well, obviously, Olga is devastated. And now she is a woman alone ruling the Kievan Rus because her only son, Sviatoslav, is only 3 years old and not yet ready to rule. Well, the prince of the Drevlians is also aware of Olga's situation. And he's like, this dame, she's weak, she's a widow. We are going to take over all of the Kievan Rus territories, and we're going to make that happen because I am going to forcibly marry Olga. He gets 20 of his guys together and he says, fellas, go to Kiev, tell this lady that I'm going to marry her. She should be grateful. So these Drevlians come to Olga's door. They tell her, hey, we killed your husband. Prince Mal is going to marry you. Hope that's good with you. Now, Olga is a brilliant woman, and she tells them, okay, well, I feel like I have to consider this. I need the night, but come back tomorrow. This is an honorable offer. I want to honor you. You come to this door, you say the following. You say, we would not ride on horses, we would not walk on foot, we would only be carried by boats. And if you say that at my gate, all my men will come out and honor you. So they say, sure, that sounds fair. We'd like to be honored. They go back to their boat. They come back in the morning, and they say exactly what Olga told them to say. They say, we would not ride on horses. We would not walk on foot. We would only be carried by boats. The Kievan Rus then come out of Kiev, and they carry the Drevlians into the city on these boats, which apparently is some kind of honor. Little do the Drevlians know that the previous night, Olga had all of her people dig deep trenches. So now, with the men in the boat, they dump the Drevlians into the trenches and bury them alive. Yeah, Olga was an ice-cold killer. Transition. We are going to add ice to our shaker and get this drink started. We're going to add a good amount of ice, about half full in this shaker, I think. Then we are going to add 2 ounces of vodka, official drink of Kiev and Rus. Not really, but you know that's fun to say. So we're going to get 2 ounces right in there. Then we are going to add in 3 ounces of our beet juice. I measured it out beforehand. This is fresh beet juice. I made it in my juicer. It's a little thick, but it looks great. And then we're going to add 1 ounce of tomato juice. Now, if you are a huge beet fan, you can just do it with beet juice. I'm not a huge beet fan. I also like that the color of the tomato juice helps make the drink look really bloody, which is exactly where this story is about to go. Olga has killed off 20 of the Drevlians, but she is so audacious. She sends word back to Prince Mal and she says, you know what? I'm seriously considering marrying you, but if you want to be my lover, you got to send me 20 men. Send me 20 more guys, 20 of your best dudes. Impress me. Mal says, this seems like a fair request, and I'm not at all concerned about those other 20 guys who have never come back. So he sends 20 of his best men out to Kiev. They show up at the city, and Olga welcomes them with open arms. She says, come on in. I'd love to dine with you. But first, please, come into our bathhouse. You can get all clean there and have like a nice little spa day. Do a mani-pedi. It's totally masculine. They go on in, and of course, Olga, being who she is, sets the bathhouse on fire. Fire. We're going to add some heat to this drink. We are going to add, well, first, we're going to add all of our dashes. Our dash of Worcestershire sauce and pickle juice and lime juice and lemon juice. It's literally just a dash, just a squeeze. I mixed it in beforehand. I'm going to pour it in right now. Then, the heat. We're going to be liberal with our hot sauce. We're going to pour in a good amount. And we're going to add in some pepper. So by this point in our story, Olga has killed 40 Drevlians. But she's not remotely done yet. She sends word to Mal. She says, all right, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this whole you murdered my husband thing. I think we should have a funeral feast for him. Don't you worry. You stay there. I'll come to you. So Olga goes down to see the Drevlians. She has a huge feast with Prince Mal. And she's so charming. She gets all the Drevlians, including the prince, super wasted. Meanwhile, all of her men are waiting outside the banquet hall, and as soon as they are completely blottoed and incapacitated, she sends in her men and murders them all, because that's how Olga rolls. We are going to roll this cocktail. Sometimes people shake Bloody Marys. I am not going to shake this one, this Bloody Olga. I'm not shaking it. I'm going to roll it, which means I'm going to pour it from one glass into the other glass. The reason is because this mixes together all of our ingredients, but the tomato juice and the beet juice won't lose their viscosity, which is something that you really want when you're drinking this kind of drink. The color now is pretty excellently bloody and fantastic. After the massacre at the banquet hall, Olga sets out on a crusade, killing every Drevlian in her freaking path, until there are only a few peasants left, peasants who are begging her, saying, please, Olga, all we want is peace. And she says, guys, that's fine. I can give you peace. You just need to give me tribute. Not even money or anything. Just give me like 2 or 3 birds that hang out in the eaves of your house as a tribute to me, to honor me. And they're like, oh, that's easy. We can totally do that. They give her the birds she requests. She gets her army to attach tiny pieces of tinder to each of them and then sets the birds on fire. The frantic birds fly back to the eaves that they came from, setting all of the Drevlian homes aflame, killing every Drevlian left. Now, of course, the question must be asked, how did this murderous woman become a saint? The reason is because after all of this, Olga goes back to Kiev. She has, preserved the monarchy for her ungrateful son, Sviatoslav. I'm saying it wrong. That is not how you say it. But he was not grateful. He did not care. And he didn't listen to his mother, Olga, because Olga decided after all of this that she was going to convert from paganism to be a Christian. And she tried so hard to convert her son with the crazy long name. But he wouldn't go. He wouldn't budge. However, he was busy for most of his reign off on these military campaigns. So she was able to proselytize to her grandson Vladimir. And Vladimir converted to Christianity like his grandmother Olga. Ultimately, Vladimir converted all of Russia to Christianity, and that is how Olga gained sainthood. In Eastern Orthodoxy, she is known by the highest term next to the apostles. On Catholic.org, they call her a murderous and barbarous woman. So, to garnish our drink, we are going to add a shloshlik, which is essentially a Russian kebab. This one is just like bleeding meat and beets, because I think that is how Olga would want it. All right. I'm going to sip it. Oh, it's good. It's really spicy. I added a lot of hot sauce, but I'm into it. It's not too beety, which works for me. But you could add a little more beet juice, and if you're a beet fan, it would be for you. It's great. Try it out. I hope that you enjoyed this episode of Feminist Cocktail Hour. If you've been having fun with these, please subscribe. Come back tomorrow. I'll have another lady, another cocktail. I will see you then.
Let's go, girls.